Welcome. We are just opening the doors, so to speak, for our What's Up Pasco. Thank you all for being here and joining the Sales and Marketing Council today. As you can see on my screen, hopefully, our annual sponsors. These are companies that have committed to supporting our programs both virtually and in person this year. Including our platinum sponsor OfferPad. We just want to thank you all for supporting the association, specifically the Sales and Marketing Council, and please consider doing business with these members as they exemplify a unique commitment to not only the association, but the home building industry. So what's up Pasco? A lot is happening in Pasco County, of course. Maybe we all need a refresher on maybe what we had missed in 2020, what's coming up and happening here in 2021. So I just want to thank our contributors today. We have Hope Kennedy, David Engel, Tho Nguyen, and Alex Henry. Thank you all for being here. We're going to start with David Engel. David, will you introduce yourself, kind of give a little history on what you do up in Pasco County, and then tell us what's happening in your world?
Yes, hi, my name is David Engel. I'm the Economic Growth Director for Pasco County. I manage a small but very professional, capable team of individuals, and we are the fiduciary for the Penny for Pasco, which is a $67 million trust fund dedicated for economic development. We originate and write all the agreements that are reviewed by the Board of County Commissioners to provide incentives and local business assistance. And we have a variety of new initiatives and programs that I'll review with you in a moment. And first thing I wanted to do is just tell you a little bit about the history of my tenure here in Pasco. I started here in July of 2018, so we're not even 3 years into it. And when I got here, the office was doing back office and the support and assistance for the Pasco EDC. The Pasco EDC is the marketing arm of Pasco County. They have a memorandum of understanding and an agreement to market and tell the Pasco story to the outside community and attract new businesses into our community. And we were also focusing on one project at a time. So we had a variety of great projects come in, Metler Toledo, Touchpoint Medical, things like that. And we started expanding our umbrella of tools and opportunities for commercial and industrial development. One thing we noticed was that the single user taking down 25 to 50 acres and putting up a 200,000 or 300,000 square foot facility, that wasn't low hanging fruit. That was the stuff that took years and was highly competitive to obtain, the Metler Toledos of the world. And we realized that we had to turn a lot of business away from the county because there's a lot of users that come in and they want 20,000 square feet, 50,000 square feet. They want it yesterday and they can't do build to suits and they didn't want to own land. So we instituted what's called the Pads and Pours program. That was a commercial and industrial development loan program. And it carried a very low interest rate. And if certain milestones were reached and certain performance deliverables were obtained, we were able to reduce the principal of the loan and it became part or totally a grant. And we have some great projects going in now. The first project that we did was the Flex project in Astoria on Route 54. There are 3 Flex buildings. 2 buildings are up and occupied. The third building, which is 132,000 square feet, is under construction now. There's a lease signed with a single user. And we learned that Flex style building is in very short supply because we don't have a lot of that type of product here in Pasco. And the developer of that project is interested in looking for additional siting for more Flex construction. So if you have a mixed use zone situation that will allow that in your residential projects, let us know. And we'll marry you up with that builder because they want to expand into that product line. Down on North Point Parkway, which is perpendicular to 54 and off of the Sun Coast, is a project called TPA Edison. The TPA group has 2 twin 75,000 square foot buildings. One is erected. And I know that the office building market is very slow to come back. It's going to morph into something post-COVID than we knew pre-COVID. But that builder, that developer realizes that the market is changing, but they're committed to their business plan. They want to do a larger corporate type of tenant there, 25, 50,000 square feet, white shoe law firms, that type of thing. So they realize they have to maybe hold the building for another year at carry costs, but they're committed to it and they're confident. And they're going to move ahead with that second building shortly. Over just east of the Suncoast is another spec project we did. That's called Colwell Avenue. It's two 60,000 square foot buildings. The place is, the slab is in on building one. All the site improvements are done. They just started construction this year. And I'll tell you, there was a very quiet period and an uncertain period when we went into the COVID spring, which last spring was rough because we didn't know what was going on. And there was a lot of nervousness, but that project owner feels much more confident now. And they're very knowledgeable about the local market. So that was very heartening. I don't know if the group has received Cushman Wakefield market studies, but a quarterly report is issued for Tampa Bay. And you know what's going on in the residential area. Apartments are hot, singles are hot, but our industrial market is very hot. And in fact, our activity right now is probably the highest it's been since I've been here in 3 years. So that's moving along well. The county's got 2 industrial business parks that we initiated. One is probably you'll never hear of it until you see it, but it's called the Lakuchi Industrial Area, and that's up in the northeast section of the county. And that area is very depressed, very low in mod. It's used to be an old mill area, and now there's no mill and there's no citrus to support any commerce. So we obtained an FDOT grant for $5.6 million. We're doing road improvements, and we already have a target industry in there, creating the first jobs ever created in Lakuchi in the last 50 years. So we're working on that. We're working with Lakuchi Cooperative on Old Pasco Road near Overpass Road down in Wesley Chapel and Land O'Lakes. We have the Overpass Business Park going in. The Rooker Companies is the contract purchaser of that. The county is clearing the land and doing pad ready and development ready work now. And then we're going to close, we'll have a closing. Rooker will take over, and they're coming in with their first building, which is 200,000 square feet. That park will generate about 850,000 square feet and 1,500 jobs. And up in Lakuchi, it's about 700,000 square feet and about 800 jobs. So those are other types of initiatives we're working on. The county conducted a business survey for the first time, and I know that our Pasco EDC conducts surveys on a regular basis, but the county decided to ask some questions in our business community, and the survey results are very interesting. One thing we learned is that I don't think that we've really done a great job on messaging about what the county's doing, and a lot of businesses. I thought they'd be more excited and supportive of what we're doing, but there's unmet need there that we were able to identify in some of the areas that we can step up the game and probably communicate better or to focus new programs on. One thing was workforce. When businesses come in here, the first thing they want to know is where are my people going to live and work, and who are they? And the county didn't get high marks on our indigenous workforce, on reliability, on training. And the Board of County Commissioners commits a lot of money to workforce training. We have certain county-specific projects run through CareerSource. We have the AmSkills Industrial Apprenticeship and Training Program. The Board of Ed and our state college have certificate programs going now and vocational programs. So we're going to step that up and get the messaging out. And quite recently, CareerSource just executed an agreement with the Pasco Hernando State College to do trades training there. I know all of you guys, all of your businesses, you're short on trade, and we need more tradespeople that are trained. They're great jobs and great futures for our local people. Another area that we haven't done a lot of work on and was identified in our business survey is redevelopment. And our recruitment process is not dissimilar to any other local government area. We basically have businesses coming in and kicking a tire, and they select a site, and then they competitively evaluate that site and that location against other locations throughout their target area, and it could be even national. And then they, you do the incentive dance and the negotiation, which is done very well by our Pasco EDC, and then they come in. But the point is that we mapped out the entire county where all of our deals have been done and where the county has spent money. And on specific projects over the last 15 years, the county spent $126 million in local business assistance or industrial projects. That's quite a phenomenal amount of money. But we noticed there's the obvious pattern that most of the projects are located where businesses want to be, along 54, 56, Wesley Chapel. And we saw that there's a dearth of absence of opportunity in businesses along the 19 corridor, and also the westerly side of Route 52, for example, and down in 301 just south of Zephyr Hills. So the messaging here is that the heavy lifting in economic development is the redevelopment. But so you have to have some skin in the game. You have to stimulate and motivate certain types of market behavior. And to do that, you have to compel people to look in areas where they'd not necessarily look if it was just up to the marketplace. So as the thesis goes, we believe that the county is at an inflection point and we should be stepping up and investing in our older areas. In fact, businesses in general, only 32% of businesses in Pasco County that were surveyed, and it's a high representation survey, felt the county's doing enough in our depressed older areas in our commercial corridors. So we are engaged in formulating a new program that will allow for redevelopment. We've engaged in a pilot program, and we're doing that right now for small business assistance for redevelopment. We received $500,000 of block grant money. We've already through that. We have another application in. The Board of County Commissioners has initiated a small business assistance landscaping grant program. If you have to come in compliance under the code and do certain beautification of the property, which is important for property values and attracting customers into your business, the county is willing to put up to $20,000 to reimburse or front money to the business for landscaping and plant stock. So we are aggressively and proactively moving into that area. And one of the things that I'm doing is my formulation and justification process to get money for a pilot program for redevelopment. And we're looking for low-hanging big projects on 19. We took a project in Lee County. It was an old Sears, 150,000 square feet, located in North Fort Myers. And their Board of County Commissioners granted a developer $1.7 million in fiscal year 20 to rip down that Sears and put in a mixed-use project consisting of 272 multifamily flat units in 4 buildings and 6,000 square feet of vertically integrated retail. So we took that we took that project and we had the numbers, we knew the value, and we moved it over as if we were going to rip down the old Sears at the Gulfview Mall on Route 19. And taking those parameters and putting it into Pasco County, we had phenomenal rate on investment returns. So just on the break even on the revenue capture on the additional sales tax and also the ad valorem tax, our project would break even in 4.7 years. It would pay the county back direct dollar for dollar on the incentive. And the injection into the local economy was $4.7 million a year in ROI, coming off a 1.7 million one-off incentive for redevelopment and demolition. So there is some traction on these projects, and we hope that we're going to follow through and do something big on Route 19. And so anyway, we're coming close to the end of my presentation, so I could go on and on. I hope this provided you a little bit of a glimpse as to what we're working on and what our priorities are. And please don't hesitate to reach out to me if you have any questions or any areas of interest. Thank you.
Awesome, David. You guys are busy up in Pasco. Thank you for that report. So Hope, we appreciate you being here. Thank you. What is going on with your chamber members and how are you feeling up in Pasco right now?
Well, we are feeling great up here in Pasco, and I'm going to apologize in advance if there's some background noise. As all things, this year has taught us we have to adapt. I hate the word pivot, so I did not pivot today. I'm adapting to my surroundings. So here, up here in Pasco, we are experiencing exponential growth. I want to share a little bit about our chamber and the sort of misconceptions of chambers around. Most chambers of commerce are known for their parties, pageants, and parades, and we are most certainly not. We are a connector, a convener, and a catalyst. And David works very closely with Pasco Economic Development to bring in the businesses. And once the businesses are here, that's sort of when we take over as an organization, and we have a very symbiotic relationship, so that when the businesses are coming into our community, we're making them feel welcome. We're helping them get that skilled workforce, and we're advocating on behalf of them in Tallahassee and in DC to make sure that they are going to be successful here in our community. As you all know, the housing market is absolutely insane here in not only in Pasco, but the entire region. And I won't even speak to that because I'm sure most of these folks on here know more about that than I do. One of the issues that we always get asked about is traffic and infrastructure here, and how we are going to handle the influx of all of the folks that are coming to our town. And I always ask people to calm down. Please leave the negative comments off. We do understand that our traffic is quite I don't know the right word, but it is progress. We are making serious progress. It's going to get worse before it gets better, particularly at the intersection of 75 and State Road 56. That project got moved along up in on the docket. It was scheduled to not even have started yet, but with all of our folks coming in and with the increased residential and commercial traffic, we were able to get that project moved up. So it is coming along nicely. Once it's finished, it will absolutely change the mode in which we can get across to and from east and west. Also, another thing that we're very proud of here in Pasco is the fact that State Road 56 is now 4-laned all the way to 301. That has opened up an entire new frontage road for both residential and four-corner commercial. So we're very excited about that. And Winding Ridge, which is part of the GL Homes, and they are already pre-selling it. From what I understand, they're 18 months out from the time that you purchase before it can be built. Resting assured that our infrastructure is in place. Pasco is ready, especially the northern eastern part, Wesley Chapel, and we're very well positioned. I know that there's been a lot of talk with regards to oversaturation. It's kind of our duty to reassure folks that these plans have been put in place for a long time. The lights have been planned, the infrastructure has been planned. So while it may appear chaotic at times, it is very well planned. Most of Pasco County, and Fawn will talk to her project about it. It's a master plan development. So all of these things have really been thought through. So just be patient with us as you come into our community. Our traffic is going to be great. We are going to have it all figured out. And so I'll pause and stop with that, because I know that I usually get a lot of questions about what's coming and what's going. Our assets that we have in our community, our sports campus. I actually received text messages over the weekend that said, what is going on in Wesley Chapel? Apparently it was extraordinarily busy. We have a 100,000 square foot indoor sports campus. It is called Wiregrass Ranch Sports Campus. It's Pasco County. They had every single inch of that building covered over the weekend, with more than 2,000 folks coming in and out. So we've got a lot of exciting things that are enhancing the quality of life for people here in Pasco County. So again, I'll pause and I'll let the others take a turn, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thanks so much, Hope. Yeah, I was telling the group before we went live that we hosted our sporting clays tournament up at Tampa Bay Sporting Clays, and I hadn't been up in Pasco in a year or so, and all of a sudden, I look to my left, and Crate at the Grove. It looks completely different. It used to just be like what a Dick's Sporting Goods and a movie theater, but my goodness. So tell us what's happening there, Fong.
All right, thank you. First, I'm just very excited to be here. Thanks for inviting me. I'm honored to be here on behalf of Mark Gold, who's a developer up at the Grove. A little bit about myself. I was a newspaper reporter for 15 years, 10 of those at the St. Pete Times, now the Tampa Bay Times. I now represent clients in Hillsborough, Sarasota, and Pasco counties, Mark being one of them. I was brought on to do some PR, but I do a lot of high-level consult and counsel as well. So, in order for me to promote anything that's going on, I need to make sure that everything's buttoned up, right? I look at everything from a reporter's lens to make sure that there's full transparency and, everything is done, the way it needs to be done. And so, my role there has expanded to, overseeing all of the events as well. So, but we do have some exciting things happening out there at the Grove, as you mentioned, including the Crate. So I do have a screen. I want to share my screen, if you don't mind, and I'll go through some of the exciting things happening out there. So as you all know, we have the Grove is 250 acres. So there's a lot going on. We're trying to reimagine shopping, right? So that people can come out there, not just to shop, but to spend the day out there. And I know that Mark's vision is for it to become, another downtown. A lot of the work that I do, I have one of my bigger clients is in Hillsborough. So I run a foundation for Titus O'Neil, who is the WWE superstar. And so we have more than 100 corporate partners out in Hillsborough. And so I've kind of started to try to do similar things with Mark out there that I do for Titus in Hillsborough. And I've been able to bring in some partners and actually bring over some people from Hillsborough as well to kind of look at Pasco and see how we can, collaborate. In fact, next week I have Tony Dungy and Titus coming out to the barbershop to film a barbershop conversation for Bay News 9. So it's pretty exciting. So let me share with you what we're doing out there. So Mark is part of Misharim, which is a company from Israel. They own 22 properties in 6 states and own more than 6 million square feet of real estate. So Mark is actually the private partner and Misharim is the public company. So in September 2019, Mark and Misharim, and so it's M Gold, they purchased the Grove, all 250 acres for $64 million. The plan is to put $110 million in renovations out there. Obviously, they had the Dick's, the big box stores, and the village shops. I know when Mark started there were not, a lot of these village shops were empty. And I know people did come out to go to the big box stores, but there really wasn't much activity other than that. So in the year since he started, he had signed on 75 new tenants, offered a weekly fresh market and monthly events, and then COVID hit. So he installed UV lights in all of the stores and shops. And we did just sign on a new event company. The plan is to be able to offer some pretty high-end events out there, big name concerts and festivals. So the movie theater. So we just opened up the movie theater and the container park we are working on. So we have the movie theater of the future. So as you can see, we had a facelift on the outside, but on the inside, upstairs in the VIP area, the 21 and up bistro area, we have theaters with fully reclining chairs. Anyone who used to go to the Cobb Theater, that they had in movie dining service, which we still offer. And every ticket is reserved seating. Because of COVID now, we're doing checkerboard seating. And so every seat is reserved upstairs and downstairs. We also have a new bar area with some beautiful bar stools. And commitment to safety. You know, we've got automatic temperature checks, sanitation technology, and we do fog the theater in between showings. So yeah, that is one thing that people are coming in saying, oh, I just heard that you guys are open. Yes, we are open, and we are showing, you know, some of the latest movies. Again, because it's checkerboard seating, it's limited seating, but it is time. People are coming back out to the movies. We have a spin room theater that we are opening up as well, hopefully in the next couple months. It'll be a subscription membership based. You can drop in, but it's going to have, you know, it's a 3D screen, so you can feel like you are actually riding your spin bike through like the Alps. And you know, we may show a movie, maybe Footloose, something exciting. If anyone wants to try to spin for 2 hours, good luck. We have a supervised play area that we're building as well inside the theater, so you can drop your kids off while you know, watch a movie. We also have the comedy club that's coming in, Side Splitters, which is a famous comedy club here in Tampa. They will be opening up the comedy club there. We have a sushi restaurant. It's a little sushi bar and a full arcade. And then next to it, I don't know if you've driven by there, but we actually started work on a miniature golf course, and that should be completed in the next several months as well. And down the road, we're talking about putting in some sort of a water park that will have, you know, a lazy river, and it'll just be, you know, just a great fun right next to where the Chuck E. Cheese is right now. And the one thing that everyone's talking about and wants to know, when's it opening? And I can't tell you that just yet because we are still going through, you know, permitting and some construction, but the hope is, you know, pretty soon. And I'll share with you this video, which shows the vision for what the Crate Park is going to look like. So yes, so what you saw were 94 containers. There's gonna be 55 units, which means some of the businesses have more than one container. 70% are restaurants, 30% is retail. And of the restaurants, so we have about 164 people on the wait list to open up a container. It's because we don't want to have any duplication. So you'll have like a Peruvian restaurant, Spanish, everything from, Greek. So every cuisine you can think of, we have.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's very exciting. And this was an opportunity for, mom and pop shops or people who have been wanting to open up restaurants, to be able to find, to open up in an affordable way, because, to open up a restaurant now, you need maybe $200,000-$300,000, but with the container park, these crates, they already come with, a lot of the equipment that's needed. And so the startup costs are much lower. And then we also have a dog park. So one of the crates is actually going to be a pet store crate, but attached will be a dog park where you can actually drop your dog off for supervised play. And then there's going to be an outdoor stage with live music and daily events just to bring people in. So it's I like to say it's Sparkman Wharf on steroids. And so we're just very excited to be able to give this, to bring this to Wesley Chapel, and also, provide the opportunity for a lot of these business owners to, get a crack at opening up a business. And it's, like I said, not sure when it'll open yet. I would say in a couple of months, but don't quote me on that.
We understand permit and construction delays.
Thank you very much.
It sounds really cool. And obviously Sparkman Wharf and Armature Works, and just having that large open space that's walkable with many options, has been so special this last year. So I'm sure Pasco County and the residents nearby are just tickled to have this redevelopment in their backyard. So thank you for sharing a little bit about that.
Thank you so much.
Alex, man, you got the coolest headshot out there, which makes sense with your title and what you do in Pasco County. And I know that you're close with like the Suncoast Trail and parks and I don't know if it's walkability or bicycling, all the cool things. So tell us a little bit of what's going on in your world.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me pull up my presentation here. And thank you all so much for the opportunity to come and speak with you today.
Absolutely.
So my name is Alex Henry. I am the Bicycle Pedestrian Coordinator for the Florida Department of Transportation, District 7. District 7 essentially represents the greater Tampa Bay area geographically. So that's Pasco County, also Hillsborough, Pinellas, and then Hernando, Citrus to the north. So we are responsible for planning, designing, constructing, and maintaining of state roadways in those counties, as well as working with our local governments to plan and fund projects on local roads as well. So my job and all that is I am the bicycle pedestrian guy. What my work is to work with our team internally and with our local partners to develop projects to make it easier and safer to walk and bike around the Tampa Bay region, as well as ensuring that we're appropriately providing for the needs of bicyclists and pedestrians in some of our larger projects, such as the State Route 56 extension that just came online that was mentioned earlier. So today I'm just going to share with you kind of some big picture things that we're doing at the department. I'm going to talk a little bit about our work of advancing the regional trail system, both through Pasco County and around the greater region. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about some of our work that we do to address bicycle and pedestrian safety specifically, which is a huge focus for the department. So I'll start with the fun stuff, trails. When a lot of people think about trails, they mainly kind of think of, people on spandex, riding on the weekends for recreation or for exercise. But, trails are really have the potential to be a lot more than just exercise or recreational facilities as well. They have the tremendous potential to serve as a true transportation facility and provide kind of utilitarian use to a lot of its folks. This is evident just down south to our neighbors in Pinellas County, who, when you look at their great and robust Pinellas Trail system, some of the surveys that we've done along there show that over 12% of the folks that are using a trail on a daily basis are using it for either to commute to work or to school. running errands, really enforcing that transportation option and providing people with more options to get around versus just riding in a car alone, which in Florida tends to be the predominant means of transportation. It can also be a really good engine to promote tourism and economic development. That is really one of the big focuses for our statewide regional trail program. There's more and more research that shows that part of the reason why people are retiring and want to move to Florida is to be close to a lot of our great outdoor recreational amenities, and trails definitely check that box. You look at the work that some communities around the state have been doing, the city of Dunedin down in Pinellas County again, Titusville over on the East Coast. A lot of these communities have really been basing a lot of their redevelopment around their trails. They're routing them through their downtowns, using them as amenities, and basing a lot of their economic development plans around them. To some really tremendous success. So beyond recreation, we really feel the trails have the potential to help support a lot of the great development work that y'all are doing. A little bit about what the department, what FUT's role is in establishing the trail network. So for one, we really rely a lot on our local partners who to really take the lead to kind of draw the lines of the map and determine, where future trails are going to go, what those connections are going to look like. So here is a hard to read, but a little blurry picture of the Pasco County Greenways, Trails, and Blueways map, which is put together by the Pasco Metropolitan Planning Organization. We can send out an easier to read link to this later. But this is really kind of the blueprint for the future of trails in Pinellas County. So what we do at the department is whenever we have a large capacity project, like I mentioned, that we're widening a road out to 4 or 6 lanes, and that alignment is on that map, we'll make sure that we're including those facilities within our larger projects. And we also work very closely with our partners. So the Pasco Metropolitan Planning Organization is kind of the transportation planning organization responsible for the county. They develop a list of priority trail projects that we work with them on to program various sources of state and federal funding to advance some of those concepts. So to just kind of show you the bigger picture of kind of what that regional trail system looks like in Pasco County, a lot of this is actually complete to date. You might be aware of the Starkey Trail, which comes up from the Pinellas County line and through the Starkey Wilderness Trail, which then connects into the Suncoast Trail, which runs along the Suncoast Expressway and then out of Pasco County into a greater trail system up northern Hernando. Something that's a priority for Pasco County, and we've been working on them, is their long-term vision for this bi-county trail or Orange Belt Trail that you see in the middle of the screen here. So this is definitely a longer-term vision that's going to take some years to shake out. But the ultimate vision is that you would have a 37-mile trail that would run from the south Pinellas County line and southwest Pasco County all the way up across the state over I-4 up to Dade City to connect into the Withlacoochee Trail, which would be a tremendous new resource for the county. So we have been coordinating with the county and have been successful in funding the first of many segments of this trail, which essentially starts from that southern terminus you see there up to State Route 54, which we just programmed last year, and it's funded for construction out in 2025. So be on the lookout for that. As the county continues their planning efforts, more and more of this will come online. Kind of zooming out to the statewide perspective, a really big focus for the department when it comes to our statewide trail system is something that we call the Coast to Coast Trail. So this is a effort that's been years and decades in the works from a planning perspective, and we've made some really tremendous progress towards completing it in recent years. So essentially the concept is that there will be one continuous trail facility that will go from one coast of Florida, the West Coast, all the way to the East Coast. So one day in the not too distant future, you'll be able to, if you'd like to, ride your bike all the way from Demon's Landing in downtown St. Pete all the way over to Titusville on the east coast of Florida through Pasco County as well. So this is a huge priority for the department. We see this as being a really big boon to tourism. You know, it's going to be an amenity that people are going to come from all around the country. Those spandex bike enthusiasts we mentioned, you know, the prospect of being able to ride across the whole state. So we've really made this a funding priority and have program funding to complete all of our gaps that we have in District 7. So within the next 3 or 4 years, you'll be able to ride your bike all the way from South St. Pete to the Hernando County and Sumter County line east of Brooksville. And our counterparts in District 5, which is the Orlando area, are not far behind. So the next 10, 15 years or so, this very well should be a reality. I wanted to highlight a specific project, which was just completed last year, which completed a really critical gap in that coast-to-coast trail and completed Pasco County's whole segment of that. And that is the Starkey Gap Trail connection. So essentially, this was a pretty small 2.4 mile connection, which basically started at the terminus of the Pinellas Trail at the Pasco and Pinellas County line, and then connected up to the existing trail in the Starkey Wilderness Preserve. So although this was a pretty small 2.4 mile connection, it connected over 80 miles of trail. So you're now able to ride your bike from downtown St. Pete all the way up the Suncoast to Brooksville, which is super exciting. So if you're looking for something to do on the weekend, I definitely recommend throwing your bike in the car and checking out this tremendous resource. It's beautiful out there. Kind of moving on to the second part of the presentation, the trail is kind of the fun stuff. But the other thing that's a little more of a bummer, but definitely a big focus for us at the department is really trying to address bicycle and pedestrian safety specifically. The state of Florida and the Tampa Bay area does not, unfortunately, have the best track record once it comes to providing for bicycle and pedestrian safety. A lot of our development, as you know, has kind of occurred post-World War II, post-interstate times, and a lot of our infrastructure was kind of designed more with automobile uses in mind and maybe not thinking so much about walking and biking as primary means of transportation. And as a result, we tend to end up pretty high on the list of bicycle and pedestrian crash locations when you look across the country. And as you can see here, the Tampa Bay area kind of consistently ranks in the top 10. We were the 7th worst in the nation in this particular report. So working to address that is a big focus for the department and something that we spend a lot of time and resources trying to address. And we really take a multi-pronged approach to addressing this. One of the big things that we've started to focus on in recent years, and you might have heard this trend, is a move towards complete streets, which is essentially the concept that we need to be designing and putting the right street in the right place. So essentially, the way that we plan and design our roadways should be consistent with the surrounding development and the surrounding land use context around the roadway. For years and years, our design standards were pretty much black and white. You either had a rural road, and we designed it like a high-speed rural road with shoulders and open drainage systems, or you had an urban or suburban road, which was similar, but maybe you have curb and gutter and some more accommodation for bicyclists and pedestrians. So in the last few years, we've really taken a look at how we plan to design roads and built in some specific criteria and requirements to ensure that, when we're designing a road in an urban area where we have a lot more bicycle and pedestrian transit traffic, we're really factoring them into the design process and putting in more of those elements, sidewalks, bike lanes, multi-use trails, pedestrian crossings, to make sure that we're kind of setting them up for success, essentially. Kind of tying into that, we do kind of take what we call a 3E approach to addressing traffic safety. So that is engineering, education, and enforcement. So for a little bit on the engineering side, some of the countermeasures that we employ, and really when we're looking at Pasco County, our big focus is a lot of times on kind of the Western County. US 19 is really one of our focus corridors. About a quarter of all the bicycle pedestrian crashes that occur in Pasco County happen on US 19. So in the next coming years, I think you're going to start to see a lot of these countermeasures rolling out across the county, but really focused on the US 19 corridor. One of the most effective countermeasures that we have to promoting bicycle and pedestrian safety is lighting. Over half of bicycle pedestrian crashes tend to occur at night. So installing new lighting and improving existing lighting is definitely a big focus for us. So you can see there on the left, the difference between our traditional lighting, which is high pressure sodium, tends to kind of deteriorate at a quicker speed. And our new technology, or LED lighting, there's a pretty big difference in the illumination that you have between one and the other. So, in the next few years, we have a big project program to essentially retrofit all of the lighting on key corridors such as US 19 and State Route 54 to this new style of LED lighting to increase the roadway illumination to make it easier for folks to see bicyclists, pedestrians, and cars as well. Some other things that we look at doing, the top right is a rendering of a project we recently completed in downtown Tampa, where we actually reallocated some space within the roadway, took away a lane for cars and repurposed that into what we call a separated bike lane. So we put up a concrete separator between automobile traffic and cyclists to provide a more safe and comfortable experience for them, which is something that we're looking to do more and more across the district. And also in the bottom right, it's an example of what we call a pedestrian hybrid beacon, which is a mid-block pedestrian crossing where in locations where we have a lot of crashes, a lot of crossing activity, maybe we have a transit stop, we'll look at installing these kind of heavy duty mid-block crosswalks. So when the pedestrian needs to cross the street, they can push a button and the cars will get a red light and they can safely cross. So these are countermeasures that we're looking at implementing on key locations around Pasco County. Getting into some of the other E's that we look at, education is definitely a big part of what we do. The result of a lot of crashes is really, human decision-making, human errors, human misjudgments. So we have a pretty robust program that we do to educate pedestrians, bicyclists, and drivers about safe behaviors. So that's everything from your more kind of traditional educational and media approaches. We have billboards, as you can see there on the slide, as well as our Alert Today, Live Tomorrow statewide campaign, where we have commercials that have aired and big sporting events and things like that. But we also do some kind of grassroots outreach where we really go out to our problem corridors and talk to people that are walking and biking and driving along the corridor to educate them one-on-one. So you can see in the photos there, we provide bike lights to folks that are riding along these high crash corridors and maybe can't afford or don't have access to bike lights or reflective clothing and things like that, and use that as an opportunity to educate them about some of the traffic rules and laws that we know will help keep them safe. And in pre-pandemic times, we had a pretty robust program where we would give interactive presentations to at-risk communities. So at the bottom right there is a safety presentation that we gave to Pinellas Hope, which is a kind of a transitional living facility in Pinellas County. We see that kind of transitional and houseless folks are kind of overrepresented in our crash data and are typically more reliant on walking and biking. So we really try to target some of our educational efforts there as well. And then finally, enforcement. Obviously, as the Department of Transportation, we can't go out and write tickets, but what we can do is partner with many of our great law enforcement partners around the district. And we do that by administering grant programs where essentially the department will pay Pasco PD or Newport Richey Police Department or one of those agencies to go out and conduct additional enforcement details at problematic locations with an emphasis on educating. So, using that as a educational tool to promote good behavior for pedestrians and also drivers as well. So that was kind of a high-level overview of some of the strategies that we use at the DOT. If you're interested in particular projects, I wanted to plug this website. It's d7wpph.com. That's our work program public hearing website. On there, we have an interactive GIS map that will show you all of the projects that we have programmed and planned over the course of the next 5 years. So you can go in, you can zoom into where you live or where you work or where you maybe have developments and see some of the great stuff that we have programmed there. Read project details and there's also a way to submit any questions that you may have. And I would also be happy to answer any questions either as part of this or offline, and my contact information is there. So thank you very much.
Cool, thanks. I know, Alex, I have some friends that really get crazy about a 65-mile bike ride. So cool things that you have going on. If anybody has any questions, now's the time. You can throw them up in the chat. You can put them in the Q&A feature at the bottom of the screen. I know a question was brought up about hearing about residential development projects in Pasco. We love talking about that, and we will be talking about that on May 13th at our general membership meeting. It will be likely our last virtual meeting. So tune into that, 10 a.m. We have Leslie Deutsch with John Burns Real Estate Consulting. We have Chuck Falk, who is our chairman of the National Association and a local custom home builder here in Tampa. Going to be talking about lumber prices, supply chain issues, everything affecting affordability right now, and how they're working on policy changes up in DC. And then we also will have Rusty Payton, who's the CEO of the Florida Home Builders Association, who will be coming out of legislative session and give us some updates from the regulatory standpoint. So a lot of great content. Again, that economic forecast, kind of 2.0, if you will, is Thursday, May 13th at 10 a.m. You can find the details to the Zoom link on our website, tvba.net. Hey, Kelly from Parkside, regarding the Ridge Road extension, will there be any development along Ridge Road? Are you talking about, yeah, David, you want to take it? Just remember to unmute yourself. There you are.
That's a good question. The Ridge Road extension, which is a currently under construction project, which will ultimately interconnect Ridge Road all the way through the Sun Coast out to Route 41, is under active construction. There is a substantial amount of residential development that's going to take place as a result of that project. Project Len Angeline, which is Metro and Lennar, have 11,000 units. Master planned around the Moffett campus. That is improvements and land clearing are actively under construction. And we do have some development that's going to take place on the Route 41 area in Land O'Lakes. Those are MPUDs that have entitlements. So there's quite a substantial amount of different types of housing that will be there, predominantly single family and single family attached. So yes.
Thank you. Any other questions before my cute dogs unleash and ruin this program? Seeing none, if anybody has a question offline, feel free to email me, lauren@tbba.net. I just want to thank David, Fong, Alex, and Hope again for your time today. We always love hearing about projects and initiatives that we are not close with. So thank you again for your time and your presentation today. We look forward to having you again sometime soon.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, our pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care.